Welcome to the special council meeting, November 20th. All councilors are here.
Present.
Let's please rise for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
public input. Anyone from the audience wish to address the council? All right. Declaration of potential conflicts of interest. Seeing none. Number 6, bid openings. The recognition of Christina Kane Gibson will be pushed back until next meeting. Review of bids for our city-owned generator.
Mayor and council, we received no bids.
We've received no bids. Okay, do we have something about the Porvair agreement? Okay, that's later. Okay, public hearing. We had a public hearing last week on rezoning, and we have 8/10 of an acre on Dahlgren Street and Washburn Street to go from R2 to R1 and C1, and 5 acres around Hilltop to go to R2. R2 allows for multifamily buildings. What are the wishes of the council?
In the public hearing tonight, because we just did the first read last time.
Oh, this is a public hearing?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll get it right one of these
All
days.
right. I'm being helped.
Public hearing open at 6:02. Anyone from the audience wish to discuss this issue?
Mayor, if I might, for the record, I received one phone call from a lady who saw the ad in the newspaper. She lives further to the east on the Washburn Road, called concerned about it, thinking it was affecting her property directly. The notice that went out referred to Lot 48. She thought it was referring to 48 Washburn, the address. And so I had to clarify that for her, and then she said, well, if it doesn't affect my property, I won't need to go to the meeting. So.
Okay. Anyone else? Public hearing closed at 6:03. Council, what are your wishes on this?
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Passed. New business, discussion regarding the last election.
I just gave a report in the packet with how many votes were by each candidate, and there was no request for a recount. So we have Thomas E. Ayer and Jody R. Smith as the newly elected, our councilor-elects for 3 years, starting in January, and then Bethany Chamber Anderson for the RSU School Board for 3 years, and Betty J. Hatch for the Jefferson Carey Memorial Hospital Board for a term of 3 years. And the yeses was the higher vote getter for the non-binding advisory referendum property tax relief to senior citizens. And then I just provided you some data on the backside. When I attended a meeting, I got a handout from the town of Freeport clerk, and she does something like this after each election, and I thought you might find it interesting to see the number of voters and the changes and the number of new voters that we had on election day. So it was a busy day. Our hang-up this year, we always have a hang-up. There's one place that's a hang-up. And this year the hang-up was trying to process 2 state ballots in one voting machine, because of ranked choice voting, they were not able to combine the memory sticks for both the city's election and the state and federal elections. And because of that, I had one, and we only have the 2 machines. These are 2 machines provided by the state. And so because of that, I had 1 machine with the city ballot and 1 machine for the 2 state ballots. And that's where the hang-up was. We had a drop and run ballot box where they could put their ballots in, and throughout the day, we had ballot clerks processing those ballots. By 8 o'clock, we had all of Caribou's ballots in, but we had state ballots to get in. It took an additional 2 hours and 20 minutes, or until 10:20, before we could run the tapes that evening. Now, I have never, the state provides 2 machines at no cost to us. We have to program the memory sticks for our elections, okay? But you can lease, rent machines, and I've never been willing to spend the money to lease or rent a machine. But my recommendation for the presidential election in 2020 is that the city look to, because it looks like we will continue with ranked choice, that we rent an additional machine so we have 2 machines that can handle the state ballots and 1 machine for the municipal ballot. It's not uncommon for towns to do this. I do believe the city to the south of us, they also receive 2 from the state, and I believe they also rent a 3rd machine. So it would be additional cost for programming and additional cost for the machine. That would be my recommendation for 2020, for the presidential only. We could probably get by fine in the June primary because we don't hold an election that day other than the RSU's budget, which is a hand-counted election. So, otherwise than that, my crew of ballot clerks did an exceptional job. We had a good day there. It was a long night. We left the office. If you looked at your email, it was 2 o'clock when my deputy warden, Laura Adams, and myself left. And so that's a long day because the day started at 6 here at City Hall the day before. But it was a good day. Glad it's behind us. We've got all the cleanup done. The only thing left to do when we get the okay is to open up that incoming voting list and scan that incoming voting list into, it's called a participating history. I can't tell how people vote. I can only tell what elections they've voted in. So we have to scan that in. So,
Thank you.
yep.
Any questions? Okay. Item 8B, discussion and possible action regarding an economic development agreement between Forvair LLC and the city of Caribou. Manager?
Mayor and council, this agreement's been discussed by the council in previous meetings, and it was on hold until the generator was put out on the city's surplus website. That was done for the mandatory 30 days per our policy. As was indicated earlier in the meeting, we received no bids, which allows us as a city to dispose of that property as we see fit in the best interest of the city. Forvair is looking to expand, and they also have indicated they need some backup power. Just in the last week, a couple of weeks, we had another major power outage, and this type of generator would be able to prevent them from having to shut down and lose productive time. So they've requested that the city, that they would buy it from the city for basically $1, and that they've requested that the city help them with some of the installation costs so they can expand their business. The basics are that the city over a 4-year period of time would reimburse them in the total amount of $58,779 That is on condition that they're able to demonstrate for the next 4 years that they add 3 new full-time employees to their payroll each year for the next 4 years. And the agreement also outlines that they would have to pay them above minimum wage, and so they've agreed to do that, and that's the gist of the agreement.
Thank you. Any questions from the council? I mean, we've talked about this for 3 or 4 months. What are the wishes of the council?
I'll move to accept the contract as is.
Second it.
Questions, discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Are you in favor?
No opposed.
Okay. 6-1. Are we down to other business already? Any council members have other business? Manager, you have other business?
Just if we could have an executive session for labor contracts with the police officers, just for an update.
Okay. All right, our next meeting will be November 26th,
26th, Monday.
next Monday, and primarily we'll be talking about the River Road. So, thank you for coming. Could I have a motion to go into executive session?
Move to go into executive session, subsection 4056D, for discussion of labor contracts and proposals.
Second.
All those in favor? Unanimous. Do we have anything to sign, Jane?
Yes.